In this lecture, we are going to look at the transfer function of DC motors. So in the past few lectures, we have looked at transfer functions of electromechanical systems. We have seen transfer functions of electrical circuits, and we have seen transfer functions of translational mechanical systems and rotational mechanical systems. So in this lecture, we are going to look at transfer function of a DC motor. Right. So what is this is not going to be a very detailed lecture about the functionality of a DC motor. We'll try to basically cover that up in more detail in the machines course. But just to give you an idea as to how an electromechanical system like a DC motor is modeled from the control system's perspective. So if you look at a DC motor, there are primarily two circuits, two windings. All right, one is called the field winding, right? This is the field side. This produces the magnetic field inside the motor, and it is modeled using a field resistance and a field inductance. There is a source of voltage, which basically creates this field if it's an electromagnetic field. It is also possible that this is a permanent magnet. So in that case, the voltage source would not be there, and the field would be a permanent magnet field. The second part of the circuit is called the armature. Armature is also a winding, right? It is modeled using an armature resistance and an inductance, right? And we generally show the armature like this. This is the part that rotates and for the DC motor, and the field is fixed. So the armature is shown, the winding is shown, the winding characteristics are shown using the resistance, equivalent resistance, Ra of the winding, equivalent inductance of the winding. The load on the motor, mechanical load on the motor, is shown in terms of these parameters: J, moment of inertia, and B, damping. There is no spring constant generally found in these kind of in applications where motors are used. So the mechanical load would be in terms of the moment of inertia J and would be in terms of the coefficient of viscous friction B. There is a back EMF that is generated because of the motion of the armature in the magnetic field, and that back EMF is labeled as EA. The supply to the armature is the voltage, armature voltage, which is labeled as VA. So this is the basic circuit of a DC motor. Now there are many types and there are many ways to control the speed and position of a DC motor, but we'll try to see one major case, and we'll be talking about today we'll be talking about a separately excited DC motor, right? Separately excited DC motor, and we are going to talk about the control of the DC motor, the speed of the DC motor, using armature voltage control. Armature voltage control. So we are not going to talk about any other type of motor. Separately excited essentially means that this Vs, the field voltage, and this Va, the armature voltage, are separate. They could be drawn from the same source also, and there could be various other configurations, but this is the most basic configuration where you have a separately excited DC motor. And you can control the speed of the motor using many methods. One of the popular methods is controlling the field voltage Vs, controlling the armature voltage, controlling the armature resistance, so on and so forth. But today we're going to talk about armature voltage control. Okay? So we'll be trying to find out the transfer function and to see how this DC motor is modeled from the control system's perspective. Now let us basically look at the basic equations, the differential equations, governing the operation of the DC motor. So the equation that we have primarily, generally true for DC motors, is the back EMF. The back EMF is the EMF generated in the armature because the armature actually rotates inside a field, right? Inside a magnetic field. a conductor that cuts the field, right? By Lenz's law, there is voltage induced in the conductor, right? Because the field becomes time varying in nature because of the displacement of the conductor in space. So the back EMF generated, this back EMF that we have here generated, is proportional to the speed. So it is proportional to the speed. So there is a constant called K, and it is also proportional to the magnetic field that is there present. So this is the flux which is created by the field winding. This is the speed of the motor, and this is the constant of proportionality. Right? So this is one equation which is true for any DC motor, in fact. And the other equation is for the torque. The torque of the DC motor is again the same proportionality constant K times the armature current, the current that flows in the armature, which is here, the armature current IA, times the flux again. Right? So torque of the motor is equal to KIA times phi. So these are two basic equations that we are going to use. Right? This is for back EMF. This is torque. Again, this is armature current, and this is flux. This is the same constant of proportionality. Right? We are not going for derivation of these equations. You'll see these equations in more detail in your machines course. So these are general equations governing the production of back EMF and torque in a DC motor. In addition to this, we have simple differential equations which come from the circuit, right? If you look at this, the armature circuit, you can see, if you look at the armature side, you can write down the electrical the differential equation governing the electrical portion of the circuit. So you can write down from KVL that VAT is equal to IAT RA plus LA DIE by dt, right? Plus the back EMF that is generated. So this is very obvious from the circuit, right? And we can take the S domain. In S domain, if we take the Laplace transformation of this equation, we'll get VAS is equal to RA plus SLA IS plus EAS. So this is one equation that we need to use, and the other equation is from the mechanical modeling of the motor, and which is very simple. So the torque produced would be equal to, just like we have been doing, the torque of the motor would basically be equal to the moment of inertia times the angular acceleration plus the coefficient of viscous friction times the, okay, so this angular acceleration is a single derivative, and plus the coefficient of viscous friction times the angular velocity. So if you write this in the S domain, you should get Ts is equal to Js plus P omega S. Now this is the mechanical torque equation, right? We assume the mechanical torque to be equal to the electromagnetic torque produced. The electromagnetic torque is here, which is not generally true, but it is true for it is okay for our treatment of the problem, right? Normally there will be a difference between the mechanical torque here and the electromagnetic torque because there are losses in the motor, but we assume that the two are same. We are ignoring the losses. So this is another equation, and these are the two other equations that we have already seen. So the other equation that we have seen is EAS is equal to K pi omega S. This is one equation that we have seen here, and the other equation that we saw again was TS is equal to K phi IS. So this. Okay, so why are we taking this K phi as constant? Because we are talking about armature voltage control. So our phi is fixed. Phi is fixed. It's a constant, right? Just like K. So that is why when we did the Laplace transformation of this equation, EA was a function of time, omega was a function is a function of time, k and phi are constants. So these four equations we have obtained, and now from these four equations we should be able to draw the block diagram model for the motor operation. So basically, if you first take this equation, uh, uh, let us start from taking IAS as the input, multiplying it with k phi, right? This equation we are trying to implement, and getting the torque as a result, right? And once we get the torque, let us divide the torque by this part, 1 by Js plus B, Js plus B. And once we divide the torque by 1 by Js plus B, we should get the angular velocity. Once we get the angular velocity, we can multiply the angular velocity with k phi again, right? And get the back EMF EAS from this equation. So this equation you have implemented, this you have implemented, and this you have implemented using these three blocks. And this EA gets actually subtracted from the applied armature voltage VAS, right? So this equation that you are looking at, so VAS minus EAS, and then this VAS minus EAS gets divided by 1 by RA plus SLA, and that gives you IAS. So this whole block diagram represents these four basic equations. This equation is represented by this block. Then when you have VA minus EA divided by 1 R plus SLA, you get the armature current, and then you multiply the armature current with the constant, you get, so you're implementing the second equation, and you get the torque, and then the torque you divide by the mechanical parameters of the system, you get the angular velocity, and the angular velocity basically creates the back EMF, which gives you the back EMF for the motor. And if you want to further integrate the angular velocity, what you can do is you can multiply it with 1 by s and get theta s, right? So you can find out the transfer function from this block diagram by block diagram reduction, right? So this block diagram can be simplified. It can be simplified, and you can find out the transfer function theta s by VAS if you want, right? I will not do this simplification today because we have not yet seen block diagram reduction, but I will write down the transfer function that we obtain. So what we'll get will be k divided by SRAB 1 plus S tau A 1 plus S tau M plus K phi whole square, where tau A is the electrical time constant. This is R A by LA. Tau M is the mechanical time constant, which is J by B. Right? So this gives you the transfer function for the mechanical, for the motor, for the DC motor. So you can see that it's a second order, it's a third order system. The denominator is a function of S cube. The highest order term in the denominator is S cube. So now, if you have armature voltage control, and if you have other quantities that you are trying to move, like in the antenna azimuth position control system, then you can actually find out the overall transfer function for the system, right? So what does this transfer function tell us? It tells us what is going to happen to the angular displacement theta s if there is some change in the voltage, right? So we'll get, we know the relationship between theta s and VAS, right? And once we know this relationship, we know exactly what to do with VAS, right? So VAS is actually what goes into the motor, right? And theta S is what you get actually from outside. And this is the transfer function GS here that you have finally derived. So you know that in order to control theta S, how is theta S going to change if VAS changes, right? So this is how you will be able to actually control the motor and attain the desired position or speed that you want. So we'll see how this is applied to the antenna azimuth position control system in the next lecture. Thank you very much for listening. In addition to this, you also have field control. You also have armature resistance control. You also have different other methods of different other motors that we try to control. Right? There are a number of methods, a number of strategies. But what we have seen today is one of the most common methods of controlling the speed and angular velocity of a DC motor, which is separately excited, right? Using armature voltage control. And basically what we wanted to see was actually how do we model this control strategy. So finally our model is something which is as simple as this, in which we have this motor inside the block as a simple transfer function, right? So how do we apply this for antenna azimuth position control system? We'll be looking at in more detail in the subsequent lectures. And before that, we'll be looking at something called block diagram simplification. So we have this block diagram that we have drawn, but how do we actually get to this transfer function from this block diagram? So more about this in the coming lectures. Thank you very much for listening.